Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 243 of Optimal Living Advice, the podcast where we take any questions you might have about the many struggles of life and get them answered for you here on the show. I am your host, certified life coach Greg Audino, reminding you before we begin that if you have a question you would like help with on the show, we welcome you to email it to us at advice@oldpodcast.com. Now, in today's episode, we will look at a question sent in about a family dilemma. Our asker has found herself caught between her two siblings, whose clashing personalities have really seemed to affect the whole family now that they are at odds about how to take care of their aging parents. Our asker is wondering where she fits into all of this, and if there's any way she can actually help without getting pushed out of the way. Let's consider what she can do to use her strengths, but also not waste her energy. Here's what she's got for us. I've always been the sensitive child of the family. I'm also the middle child, which has always been very fitting. My brother, sister, and I are adults now, and I'm feeling more stuck than ever. They have always butted heads. My brother has always followed exactly what my parents wanted him to do, and he's miserable. My sister has been the opposite and rebelled at all costs. She is also miserable. Now they're fighting about taking care of my parents, making decisions for them as they get older. I feel bad for my siblings and my parents and want to help them all somehow, but I'm not sure if there's anything I can do. I'm also sure both my brother and sister would jump on my back if I tried to step in and care for my parents. Is there any part for me to play right now? I think there is definitely a part for you to play, asker. Thanks for sending this question in and for looking out for your parents as well. I am the child of some older than normal parents myself, so I have had a lot of these thoughts on my mind lately as well. Although my parents are still in good health and looking after them isn't really necessary for my brother and I yet. My brother and me yet, I think, yeah. Anyway, I want to start by touching on the dynamics between your brother and your sister, because I feel it's important for you to know that trying to fix them or repair their relationship is not your responsibility, even if you feel like doing so would be good for your parents. Maybe it's true that your parents would benefit from them getting along better, but that's not the task at hand for you right now. It's really interesting how you've chosen to describe your brother and your sister. I can't help but to think that they're very strong in their roles, if you've essentially summed them up as conformist and rebel, respectively, in the short amount of time you took to describe them. Whether or not others would agree with you, I can't say, but assuming you've painted a clear picture of them, it's important to know that each of these types of people fuel the other. You see, in order for the conformist to continue to conform and do what they do, they have to hate the rebel in themselves. The rebel that they have within has to be silenced if they're to keep trusting in the system or game that they believe will give them love and or power. So if your brother actively does as your parents say, and has presumably been rewarded for that, the rebel in him threatens his idea of whether or not he'll receive love. So, therefore, combating the rebel is a great act of loyalty for his perceived source of love, that being your parents. The rebel, on the other hand, is probably more awake, more brave, and more in touch with their feelings, a little bit like you are, but they're not so compassionate with their feelings and themselves, because a rebel's identity cannot be shaped without shaming their inner conformist. They take pride in their ability to think for themselves and establish love and power on their own terms. This is great. But this desire becomes so strong sometimes that they are eventually conforming to something else, that being rebellion itself, and it's hard to realize. They get their fuel by going to battle with their inner conformist as well as conformists they interact with. So, I apologize if I just nerded out a little bit there, but I'm trying to tell you that those two need one another. And unfortunately, it would take something pretty seismic to break them free of these positions they're in and how these positions work in tandem with one another. Putting the pressure on yourself to solve this is not as practical for you as it would be to just continue to show them compassion while setting good boundaries. Their disagreements are their business, and they're not asking you to repair their relationship, I don't think, and I feel as though you have more to offer your parents right now. So with that being said, my practical advice for you is to focus on your main objective, which again seems to be the care of your parents, as they're unfortunately, it sounds like they're just going along for the ride right now and probably being silenced based on how you've structured your question. Now, I know you seem lost in the middle, maybe questioning the value of your sensitivity and feeling as though it's not something useful or empowering. I hope you're not feeling that way, though, because it is something great, and it's a tool that can really help right now, and always. While your siblings are likely arguing over the tangible parts of life for your parents, why can't you handle the intangibles? As someone who's naturally in tune with their emotions as you are, why not make it your role to be their emotional caretaker? It's easy to overlook these things as, physical health concerns surface with aging parents, but these are important nonetheless. Do you think your parents are content with being pushed and pulled in either direction by your siblings, all the while watching yet two of their children go at each other's throats? Of course they're not. Use your gift of sensitivity and take care of them in that way. Offer them unconditional love and calmness and make sure they know that you're offering it. Offer them a shoulder to lean on. Give them opportunities to make their own choices and help them celebrate and facilitate those choices. They probably want their voices to be heard more, and you can offer them that. They definitely want to see and feel love from their children, and you can for sure offer them that too. So, make it your mission to look for opportunities to look after their emotions and center them and provide them with a sense of peace, because that's your strength, and they really need that right now. Thanks a lot to the asker for sending this question in. I hope this episode helped and that my little detour there about conformists and rebels was more useful to you than distracting. It's just important sometimes to tackle one objective at a time when there are several problems we'd like to solve. And it's equally important to acknowledge how we expend our energy in tough family times, what we control and what we can't. Hopefully you can all find a way to apply that within your own lives after today's episode. Time to get going though, team. Thanks as always for stopping in. And what can I say? I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.